Well, good morning and welcome to another week on my allotment. And actually that's not quite true, is it? Because the weekend's already passed, so it's over a week since I posted a video. But you may have guessed it's early morning, it's Monday morning, and we've had a busy weekend, so I haven't had a chance to get up here and do anything over the weekend. But I'm here now, and I've only got a few hours here, and then I'm going to go across to the caravan storage place and check out the caravan. Haven't seen it for a few months. Make sure it's safe and clean and ready for when the government say we're allowed out to play. And again, the allotment is really about two things this week. The one is the continuation of the watering. There's no end to it in sight. We've had no rain. The forecast over the last couple of days has said light rain and a moderate breeze, and we haven't had either. We've had no rain and strong winds, and it's already picking up. I started to record outside and the wind's getting stronger. It's only 4:30 in the morning and already the wind's picking up. Anyway, can't help the weather. So yeah, I've got a few hours up here, and it's more watering. And I have to admit, I'm getting a bit tired of it now. It's draining on the enthusiasm because I don't get to do anything else. You know, I haven't had it all day up here now for a while, and the precious few hours I get up here, I'm toing and froing with the cart doing the watering. Anyway, that's allotments. Serves me right for getting the allotments diagonally furthest from the water trough. Didn't think of that when I came here to choose one. Anyway, I said it's about two things. The second thing is things are now starting to crop, and that's really exciting. I have had a wander around the plot, and the last time I was here was Friday. I forget, the days blur. Anyway, I noticed then that there was some courgettes forming with flowers on that I mentioned before. They always take off once they've gone over. Well, now we've got some fully sized courgettes. Boy, have we got some courgettes. And looking at the other plants that haven't got mature ones on yet, they're coming thick and fast. Planting that many courgette plants might prove a bit of a mistake. Anyway, can you have too much produce? I don't think you can. So I've got broad beans. They're formed. I've got so much lettuce. I can't give it away. The peas, the pods are formed, and they've now got to fill out and fatten up. There's ripe strawberries on the strawberry beds. Yeah, it's wonderful. So I'll show you a quick look round. And I apologise that this week's video won't be very long, but I'm just going to post this really, one, to show you how things are, but more importantly just to let you know that I haven't gone away and that I'm still on top of things. I have now completely renovated the old raspberry bed. I've dug out all the old gooseberry bed. The gooseberries are all out. That was an onerous job because the ground was like cement. But they're out, and I've cleared the bed, and already I've got loads of leeks spare, and I'm going to pop some leeks in. I've got 10 pumpkin plants in down the bottom on the extra bed, and they're doing okay. They're not moving much, but they're doing okay because obviously the weather's gone colder. But I've got another 10 in the greenhouse at home, and they're really looking good. So a bit of a quandary there. I don't really know what to do with those plants, but we've got that bench down there that says take what you want and leave what you can. So I might, you know, those extra pumpkin plants, I might just sit them on there and people can help themselves. It's always nice to help others. Anyway, just a short video this week, a quick breeze around the block, and just to show you how it's going and the progress that's being made. But most importantly, I've got to get that Kelly kettle on. Time for a brew. Well, while I make my brew, I don't want to disappoint all my Nif Naf and trivia fans. So, the one I'd like to mention this week is to be at a loose end. And again, it's a very popular phrase, and it just means that, you know, you've run out of things to do, you're a bit idle, nothing happening. And again, that's of naval origin. And on ships of the sale, there are miles and miles of rigging, ropes. And those ropes have splices on the end to make sure they don't fray and unravel, because, you know, unraveling ropes would cause a problem, if not be quite dangerous on a ship. So all the ends of the various ropes, which I believe were called sheets, oddly, would be spliced and sometimes tarred. And on a ship, if a member of the crew found himself with nothing going on and nothing much to happen, he would be told to go and find some damaged or wearing rigging around the ship and to re-splice the ends. So he'd have to go and find the loose end of a rope and re-splice it. So when you find yourself at a loose end, it meant at the end of a piece of rope doing some rather mundane make and mend. So that's where the phrase to be at a loose end comes from. Poor old sailors, they did have a hard time of it. Yes, I hope you find that interesting as the Kelly kettle fires into action. And if you don't know about Kelly kettles, they're a rather clever invention. Essentially, you've got the opening here. It's just a very simple cork, and you pour the water in there, and it's a double sleeve. It's a sort of a double skinned sleeve around this I won't point too close, around this central chimney where the flames are coming up. And of course the flames coming up through the centre heat the water that's wrapped around it. So there's a lot of surface area in contact with the heat. So it's a brilliant bit of kit. And of course, you know, when you're out in the wild or in the countryside, you're meant to fill this bottom container with twigs, bark, you know, and stuff that you find in nature. But you know, and that's the purest way. But you know, I mean, we've got lots of cardboard, as everybody has nowadays, with the Amazon boxes coming in thick and fast. And so I think that's, you know, it's a way of reusing stuff. And it boils in seconds, it really does. Yeah, so, I mean, I've had one of these, well, I've had this one for years, as you might tell from the state of it. Modern ones have a more conventional metal spout that has a whistle on it, which is rather nice. I think a kettle should have a whistle. But all the time this one is working, I'm not wasting my money. And I'll continue to use it. So, I'll make my brew. Yeah, look, I've got the water's starting to boil already in the time I've been talking to you. So either this is very efficient and boils very quick, or I've been talking too long. Yeah, so once I've got my brew in my hand, I'll take a wander around the site. Well, the first crop, that although I'm not picking it yet, but I'm very pleased with its progress. You know, they're up to 6 feet now. Wonderful plants, and they could not look healthier. And that's the alderman peas, and already, I mean, they were very flat looking affairs, but they are slowly filling. In fact, that's definitely one of the crops I should be watering when I get the cart out. But yeah, they're coming along beautifully. They are a thing of beauty. I'm really excited about these. That's going to be a really big crop, and they're doing very well. So that's the alderman peas. This is my New Zealand spinach. Never grown it before. Never managed to grow spinach of any description because it always bolts. But so far, don't want to tempt fate. And it's got some spring onions interspersed with it. But so far that's looking good. And I think I could start making a very gentle picking on that. But that's looking really good. I'm very pleased with that. That's the New Zealand spinach. And then just there is the blueberries. And they are absolutely adorned in blueberries. And they're all filling up now. They haven't started to turn colour, but they're looking good and near. So I've netted those to keep the birds off. Now this is the celery, and I've mentioned in a previous video I'm trying something new this time. So rather than put it in the ground, because our ground is very, very heavy, it's just not suitable for celery. So I'm growing the celery in pots in these rather large drip trays, and I fill the drip trays with water, and the water works its way upwards. But I haven't been here for a couple of days, and as you can see, the wind and the sun evaporate the water very quickly. But actually the soil in the pots is still very, very damp. So I'm very happy with that progress. If you've been watching for a while, you'll know that I've started growing my carrots in tubs. And when I filled these tubs, I mentioned that I thought the reason last year they didn't grow very well in these tubs was that because I had them round there behind the shed and they didn't get as much sun as they could have done. And I filled 3 of these pots or tubs very close to the top of the tubs, and the one on the end here is a bit lower down, and that was the first one sown. And you can see how sparse and how small those carrots are because they're down below the level of the tub, whereas these that were sown later but higher up in the tub are looking much healthier, much larger. So that tells me that one, they're in the right place, but secondly and more importantly that the lower level of soil is not doing those carrots any favour. Still, it's all about trial and error, isn't it? Very happy with how the strawberries are doing. Got to get the netting off today and take a bit of a picking. Wow. Well, that's one example of the broad beans, and I have to say they are not the best looking plants. You know, other people have got much taller, bushier plants, but bearing in mind last year I didn't manage a single broad bean because of the black fly. The washing up liquid and olive oil spray with water that I've used has been 100% effective. I don't have any black fly now, and I don't care if the plants don't look good as long as they crop. So yeah, very happy. My meagre attempts at a bit of colour on the plot are starting to show dividends, and these 3 tubs down the main path are looking very nice. But what I wanted to show you is this was the bed that had all the gooseberry bushes in. I think in total there were 12 gooseberry bushes, and it was absolutely swamped with weeds, so I've had to dig it over, dig out all the weeds, and in amongst all the weeds I actually managed to find, as you can see here, 3 surviving plants. Now I'm not going to get much of a crop off them, but that's not the important thing. The important thing is I've saved them, and I've given them a good drink, and they'll live to see another day. And you probably can't see it, but if I come a bit closer, I've already planted some of my excess leeks, and that's what I'm going to fill this bed with. We use a lot of leeks, so I'm going to plant them up in there, and I'm sure they'll be fine. And these are my sweet peas. I've got a couple of these obelisk things at home in the garden, and the sweet peas aren't doing particularly well on them either. They're coming along and they will flower, but these are the same. They're a bit ragged. Other people have got them, well, John's got them flowering, and he's had them flowering for weeks now, but they'll come, you know, just got to be patient. While I'm here, the arch that I'm growing my runner beans up, they are starting. I've got a rogue one here, been away for a couple of days, and it's heading off across the chicken wire, so I'm going to have to retrain that. Oh, and I've just noticed I've got some flowers. It's a beautiful thing about being away a day or two, is when you come back you notice so much change. That sky is absolutely mesmerising. But actually, what I wanted to show you, I'm not sure how well you can see it through the netting, but the Calabrese broccoli has got small heads on them. And they look a bit odd in colour. Not sure if that's a problem, but they're forming. Very happy with that. In fact, all these brassicas could not look healthier. Very happy with how they're going. And these are the cauliflower. Can't see anything in there yet, but early days. So very happy with the way the brassicas are doing. Black currants, absolute stalwart of the allotment plot. Thousands, I suspect, thousands of black currants on there. Currently green currants, but you know, a bit more sunshine, a bit more warmth, and we'll be there. These are my Waltham butternut, and actually very happy with the way they are. They're looking good. The bottles look a bit odd right now, I know, but once these plants get going, this bed will be just a solid canopy of large leaves, and hopefully these bottle tops or bottle bottoms will stick out of those leaves, and I can water directly down to the roots of each individual plant. But yeah, they're looking good. And I remember I mentioned in a previous video, this one on the end, which looks much bigger and healthier, was one of the same Waltham butternuts that I just kept in the greenhouse for another couple of weeks. And I shall make a note of that in my diary, and remember just to hold off and hold them into the end of May, and they'll look a lot healthier and do a lot better for it. But yeah, very happy. The Marketmore cucumbers, these ones I'm growing up this trellis just as an experiment. Next door, another Marketmore cucumber. You know, just like in all aspects of nature, you know, nature is cruel, and some plants make it and some plants don't. And I've got this row of calendulas behind them, but they're Marketmore cucumbers all the way up there. We'll just see how they get on. This is the bed of Musselburgh leeks. These obviously were the earlier planted leeks, and they were tiny when I put them in, way too small really. They hadn't bulked up at all. But as I move down the bed, you can see the plantings of, as I come to the ones that were planted later. In fact, some of them were only planted a week ago, I think. And obviously you can see that in the size of them. But that just means, hopefully, that in a few months we'll have successional pickings. And we shall see. But right now, very happy with the way it's going. And they're planted wide enough at the moment that I can get the hoe in between them for the weeds that just do not stop. And here we have a bed mostly of Gardener's Delight tomatoes. couldn't look healthier. There's a few of my spare brassicas at the end just filling the space, but again, very happy. Took a bit of wind damage earlier in the week, but they're looking okay, as are the sweet corn. Again, some of them have had to be tied in because the wind, as they're getting bulkier now and sticking their heads above the parapet, so the wind has given them a bit of a hiding, but they're doing fine. And if I swing around, these are the Roma tomatoes, and they're just being left to grow as bushes, or as bush tomatoes, and there's lots of flowers on them, so I'm holding out hopes of a nice crop of plum tomatoes. Now this garlic, Germidor, which is the staple of our garlic crop, doesn't seem to bolt and has always been a good cropper. This has been in since last autumn. In fact, September the 9th on the label I can see. This is looking quite bad. It's a real case of rust on these plants. I don't think that affects the bulbs themselves. And the ground is like rock. I have watered and watered this, but I cannot break this soil up. So I'm hoping that come July, I mean they're yellowing now as well as the rust, but I'm just holding out that, you know, that underneath there when I pull them out there is a bulb. But yeah, not quite as confident about these, but you know, we shall see. Well, we're down the bottom end by the compost heaps now, and this is my giant Atlantic, or Atlantic giant, and it's just starting to push out a leader. Now whether that there is what becomes the pumpkin, I don't know, but I'm very happy with how it's going. Just eager to get some water on it this morning because it's gone a couple of days without. And next to it is another courgette zucchini. It's a giant of a plant. It's really liking this compost heap, and inside, not sure, oh, there's a, let's see, get that off. See, that's what I mean about the rotting, oh, dropped it, the rotting flowers on the ends of the fruit. So when I see those, I take them off because I think they rot the end of the fruit if you're not careful. But inside there's a lot of courgettes forming. What the hell do we do with them? Cheryl says don't worry about that. She freezes them and we use them all the way through the winter in our stews and things. So yeah, looking good. But talking of courgettes, well, I've been away for a couple of days, but I'm pleased to announce that is my first courgette of the year. June the 7th, is it? Or June the 8th, not sure. But that is a thing of beauty. Very happy. Well done, plant. Good start. That's a really attractive looking thing. Yeah, first of the year. So as I pan around the plot, as the sun rises on yet another day, when I got this extra bit of land, this blackcurrant came with it. Now I haven't watered this at all, and the fruit are looking tiny, but you know, I'm hoping that with time they'll fill out, but I'm not too worried about it because we've got those two other bushes up the plot. But as I come round to my plot, these are the butternuts that Bridget gave me, and she mass produces them, so they're still not looking particularly healthy, but I'm hanging in with them because, you know, they're still very yellow and anemic looking, and the ground isn't very attractive, so it doesn't really help. But here's another example, and it's doing okay. In fact, In fact, news of the day, there is a butternut. So, despite the fact that they're pretty blimmin' ugly looking plants, I'm going to keep faith with them, because it would be easy to dig these up and put those extra pumpkins in here, but I'm going to stick with them and have a bit of faith. And here are my pumpkins that have been in for a while now, and again I've spoke about transplant shock, and I think this is what these are suffering from, but in an hour or so I shall give them a good drink, and I'm hoping that'll perk them up a bit. So let's just, I've shown you in some detail, let's just now quickly walk through the plot, and I think that'll be it for the week. But more beetroot, can't have enough beetroot. These Stir BC 20 onions look fantastic. I hope they end up cropping as well as they look. The runner beans that I grow up over the arch, they're doing okay. They're reaching the arch eventually. Oh, these are Moneymaker tomatoes, and some more red, well, some red barren onions over there. Those under the environment, those are the Brussels sprouts. And here's one of the pots. And Californian poppy in, very happy with those, the way they look. There's lots more flowers, there's marigolds, calendulas, snapdragons that one of my customers gave me. There's all sorts going on here, but it's just not, nasturtiums, just not flowering yet, but you know, time will. The jaguar peas are looking good, as are the potatoes as we speak. Always a little bit nervous and jittery about the potatoes up here, but right now they're looking okay. Nice picking of strawberries today, I think. The French beans. The French climbing beans are looking okay. I think some of them need a bit of tying in. Yeah, really, right now, I could not be happier. It's all looking really good. Pond is overflowing with flowers and weeds. But, you know, in amongst all that colour, there'll be wildlife thoroughly enjoying it. And then this blackberry that's growing over the old shed, that's absolutely adorned with fruit. Looking really good. And then down here I have a collection of spring onions, and that little wooden crate there, the small one, I've filled with more radishes. I only did that a few days ago. And then the lettuce over here is bursting out of its cage. And then, as if I haven't got enough, there's another courgette plant. And then in that tub there, I didn't mention that previously, but I had this old tub sitting around and a couple of bags of carrots. So I thought, right, let's get some more carrots in. And they've germinated well and they're looking good. So, I hope that's of interest to you. But right now, as I think I've already mentioned, I'm very happy with the way things are going. And I'm going to take some pickings today. That is exciting. Well, flying visit. I'm off now to clean the caravan. Done about 3 hours of watering. Barry's up here, as he often is. Another early riser. It's a beautiful day actually. A little bit of breeze, but other than that it's wonderful. And it started. A couple of lovely courgettes. Courgette called zucchini. The wonderful thing about this particular variety is it comes out striped like that. Another one will come out a very pale green, and other times it comes out a dark on the same plant. That's why I've grown it really. It just fascinates me that each fruit is different. And some broad beans, and then of course the wonderful strawberries. So these will go on our salads tonight, raw, and the strawberries we'll eat on our breakfast, I expect. and it's just on the cusp. It is now summer, and a few things are starting to crop, as I said in the walk around, and it's wonderful, absolutely wonderful, and I'm loving it. And my plot's looking good, even though I say so myself. I'm very happy with it. Yeah, couldn't be happier. So, thank you for watching. Thank you for those who've subscribed. Please give it a thumbs up if you feel you can. And all being well, I will be back next weekend. We're not going anywhere. So I'll do a little bit more. So, and I have no idea. I don't know till I switch the camera on and speak. But thank you for watching. Look after yourselves, and I'll see you next week. Bye for now.